What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel for another Pretty Problems interview. I have the pleasure of welcoming Kestrin and Vanessa back to the channel after celebrating the premiere at South by Southwest. And JJ and Britt, welcome to the Collider Interview YouTube channel for the very first time.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your movie. I had only seen it once last time and I enjoyed it very much, but now I can confirm it is even more enjoyable on a second watch. So seriously, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. We got a repeat. All right.
I will also say somehow this movie makes me want to like run out and buy the biggest bottle of wine I can get my hands on, but then also never drink it once I have it.
Yeah, mission is complete. We've done what we came here to do.
Let us know if you need us to help you drink your wine.
I mean, I definitely can call you in for some help with that. There's more than enough in this house right now. It has been a long fall, and fall has only just begun. All right. Let us get into it. Britt, I will come your way first, because if I have my details right here, you came up with the idea for the movie with Michael and Charlotte. So what sparked the idea to begin with? And also, what made the three of you think, like, yes, this idea that we have here is worth fleshing out in a feature screenplay?
Well, I think it really isn't more complicated than the old adage for indie filmmaking, which is use what you have. And so the idea came about because we were able to get our hands on the property, and that was a friend of the family lending one of their properties when they go to one of their other properties while they're in Europe at another property. Anyway, they were very happy to let a bunch of scrappy filmmakers come in and use their home. And so that is where it was born. And much like, you know, if you knew you had a restaurant at your disposal, you better write a restaurant story because that's what you've got and your budget's going to be small. So that's where we started. It was really the inspiration. And we thought, wow, what would it be like to be invited into this place and think all at once, I wish I had it, but also, do I belong here? What have I done with my life? What is happening? And we kind of toyed with the idea of it being a little tense and a little bit of a thriller, which we pulled back from in a lot of ways as we leaned more into the comedy as we started to develop the story. The laughter became one of the most important parts. So that was the beginning, and now you've seen where we went with it.
I have many follow-ups, but the biggest one of the bunch is, are you still friends with this homeowner? Will they let you shoot another movie in their house?
Honestly,
filmmaking capital on that specific property. But yeah.
We can shoot the next ladies' night there. How about that? We'll take all the wine. All the wine.
I will bring it all with me.
That's what we're doing the next one.
It's amazing, but
I'll put all the bottles in my suitcase and I will be there in a heartbeat.
That's all we need you to do.
I will say every festival we've been to since, anyone that I make friends with, I have started to ask, can we use your property? You have this amazing truck. It's giving me a story. It really is. People are very generous and they're very eager to help filmmakers if you catch them at the right moment when they're feeling inspired. So we were very, very fortunate.
That's all to say, watch out, Carrie. Look out, she's going to come for your cat colony next.
Yes.
They are open and welcome to filming. They would love to have their story told, especially in like Pixar format. I think that's what they're gunning for at the moment, but there's a great shooting location in this backyard right now.
Great.
I love it. I will work up a pitch. Let's go.
Going back to what you were saying about it going from more of a thriller to a comedy, when did you all discover that happening? Is that something that was happening while you were fleshing out the script or while you were actually working with the material on set?
I think it actually happened with like we were reading it in the table reads and it was confusing. And I remember being confused around the first read and was like, I don't totally understand this right now. And then when we did table reads, it wasn't gelling. And I think everyone kind of sensed it in their solar plexus when you're like, what's happening? That was my experience of it.
Yeah, we kept getting feedback like, oh, well, if it's a horror story, what about? And we're like, oh, no. We got to pull back because if people are picking this up on the page, then we've got to modify a few things. There was like a crazy dream sequence that got cut. That was the most misleading part. But it was really fun. It was fun to write. But ultimately, if it's not serving the story, it's got to go.
I mean, I'm very happy with where you landed on the movie, but when you just bring up the horror genre, I'm like, go down that path. Go back to the shooting location. I'll bring the wine. I'll bring some cats too, and you make a horror movie.
I love it.
No cats can be harmed. But
oh no, that's the rule always.
We can harm the actors, it's fine, but not the
cats,
actors.
no cats dying in any movies on my watch. No, but my friend was like, you know, it like the horror element, like obviously like doesn't, you know, the horror element didn't pay off, but like these people are more horrifying than any horror movie.
Yeah, the real horror is their shitty marriage.
JJ and Vanessa, for you, going through that process during the table read, what is the biggest difference between how you looked at your characters when it felt more like a thriller compared to who they turned out to be in the final film?
Oh, I mean, when the first time I don't know about the table read, but the first time I read the script, I was like, oh, there's going to be a lot of murder happening, and I hope that my character is the one to do it. And I feel like if it did go further in that direction, it probably would have ended up being what would happen with the story. But yeah, no, I was actually playing a different character when we did the table read, so my perception is totally different.
Who were you playing? I must know.
I was playing the role that Charlotte ended up playing, Carrie, one of the Carries.
Oh my! Can I ask how that changed and what inspired that shift?
The inspiration for the shift was Charlotte. Charlotte wanted to switch roles, and
yeah, I'm gonna blow up JJ a little bit because JJ came in and auditioned for Kerry because, you know, Charlotte was like, I'm gonna play Kat. This is gonna be fun. And then JJ came in and did such an amazing job. It was so hysterical. It was unbelievable. And we got out of the casting session and Charlotte was like, yeah, I think I might want to play that part. She had such an acting crush on JJ. And so, you know, Kestrin intervened and talked to JJ because she had brought JJ in to audition in the first place. And luckily, everybody was really happy to switch. And now I truly couldn't imagine it any other way. I think everybody landed right where they needed to be.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. I mean, I will never forget Michael calling me and be like, hey, what's the idea? Would you be interested in switching roles with Charlotte? And I was like, what? Yeah, absolutely.
I really can't imagine it any other way.
But Carrie was a really fun role. So yeah, it was just a lot more work, which I was down to take on.
For me, it was different because I'm so grateful that I was even included in this, but I was probably roped into the project like a year after they had started. So I was not part of the table read, and I've known Kestrin and JJ for at least a decade. And Kestrin just hit me up and was like, hey, we're trying to work out this one scene on Zoom. Would you mind just like playing around with us for a little bit? And I was like, oh girl, all day. I did not know I was even in the running or considered for the role. I thought it was just like collaborators, let's figure it out. And Kestrin's like, okay, cool, Vanessa, can you read? And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know if I've told you this, Britt, I was not prepared. I completely improv in the Zoom and was like, well, you can't act like you didn't know what you were doing. You just got to do it. And then 2 days later, Kestrin hit me up and was like, the producers want to book you. And I was like, wait, what? That worked? And I knew JJ was in it, and I will literally follow JJ to the ends of the earth. So I was like, I'm doing it. And so it was just like, oh, I get to play around with a bunch of my friends. And I read the script on the way to Sonoma, and I was like, holy bleep, I didn't realize this was so funny. I was already in, and this is amazing.
So I love talking about people who find each other and kind of know that they see good collaborators in each other. So given the fact that the three of you have been friends for a good while, did you always know that in addition to being friends, you were going to be good collaborators and creators together? Or did something like that pop up later on in your friendship?
Later on, I kind of like, Kestrin inspired me at a certain point, like a few years ago, way before the pandemic, but or I don't know, that feels like 20 years ago, but I was like, I hit up Kestrin one day and I was just like, can I just like get in your orbit a little bit? Because like she's always like learning Mandarin while like raising 2 kids and like writing movies and like doing all this stuff, and I'm just like, I want to learn. But yeah, I got inspired by her at a certain point, and she kind of like let me come into her orbit a little bit, and then yeah, I guess after that, like after working on the karaoke RV together.
Mine was really simple. I met Kestrin at a pool party and she took a photo of JJ and I was like, this is the best photo I have ever seen. You take every photo of me. And I didn't realize she was a director. So then when she was like, I direct, I was like, wait, you allow your eye to capture me moving. Whatever you want, I'm in.
All right, Britt, I'm going to add to that and go back to something that Kestrin told me the last time we spoke, because I need to hear it from you now. She referred to you as a witch and said that you sent her a cold email asking her to direct this script. So what was it that inspired you to, like, essentially, now I guess, like, not really take a chance because you had already seen her last film, but I guess you are, in a sense, taking a chance on her as a collaborator because you don't necessarily know what it's like working with her.
Yeah. I knew that we were looking for someone that had style. That was my number one desire, because the script was finished. We knew most of the cast. We had a really strong community and a really strong vocabulary between all of us, but we needed somebody at the helm that could really hold a vision. And that was something that I knew that Michael and I could not handle. We could not handle holding that while also being in front of the camera. And so we wanted someone that was just going to like blow our minds. And another woman who I worked at the studio with suggested, she's like, oh, you might like Kestrin Pantera if what you want is style. And so I looked her up on her website and was like, oh my gosh, I loved her trailer. I loved Mother's Little Helpers. So yeah, I pitched her hard in an email and got the first date. And what was extra wild was that we went and had the coffee date. Luckily, she loved the script. We made it to a second location. It was magical. And then, of course, naturally, we're like, okay, I think this is going to work. So I followed her on Instagram. And there was this photo of her at Sundance in this crazy, like, fur hat, absolute, like, standout knockout photo. So I was at Sundance that year. I was by myself. I was flying out and I witnessed this woman in front of me having a total meltdown. And this other woman, like, very gently guide her through the process of just like getting out of the airport, getting into a lift. And she just managed it so beautifully. And I was thinking to myself, holy shit, like, that's great leadership, right? Like, I was like, that was a really interesting thing to witness. That was so, like, very intense. It was Kestrin. She was wearing the hat. I remembered that she was the woman in the hat. And so I knew right away that I had already watched her in an incredible leadership position, managing, a difficult situation with style and with presence. And I was like, that's it, man. Like, I already stalked you on accident. Like, this is absolutely our director. So luckily she felt the same way.
You are an airport saint. Keep making movies, but I feel like if you just hang around airports and calm people down, this world would be a better place.
Yeah, it's true.
You're not. Well, I'm going to New York this weekend, so get ready, airports.
Whatever airport you choose here, JFK or LaGuardia, it needs some calming in that environment. So we will welcome you with.
It also needs a stylish fur hat. Oh my god! Like, she did it with this gorgeous hat on.
It's chilly here right now. It's appropriate. Bring the hat.
Bring the hat. Director, formerly known as the woman in the hat, which is amazing. Yeah. I love that.
Can you change your name?
All right, Kestrin, a random question that was sparked by something another director had told me recently. She brought up a quote that she heard from Joe Wright, and it's something like, you should direct movies that you feel like you know a secret about, or you should pick scripts to direct that you think you know a secret about. And it could be interpreted a whole bunch of different ways, but what was your Pretty Problems secret? What was something personal to you that you thought you could bring out of it that nobody else could?
First off, I love Joe Wright, and I love that quote. Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite movies. Okay, so what my secret was in this movie is that I grew up in a really small, poor town that's like the middle of nowhere, that had like the highest teen pregnancy rate in crystal meth, like in the state of California. And then at a certain point, I went to this crazy school for high school that was like in a castle on a hill. It was like Harry Potter going to Hogwarts, where you're like, what is going on? And I ping-ponged between these places of like insane disparity. And you kind of learn how to chameleon into different situations. And also, you're not like, when you're that young, when you're like 13 years old, maybe you're not quite as threatened by it because you don't realize what's going on. You just kind of grok in and you grok into both situations. And so like later on in life, in like my 20s, I was like, oh, that was a really uniquely weird experience, but it has helped me like in the chameleon department. The other part was in throwing crazy ass karaoke parties and like my like secret burning, not secret, like I go to Burning Man. Like I love going to crazy like insane parties and throwing them, even though like my like experimenting with substances career like ended like before my college year ended. So I'm like pretty sober, but I still like hanging out and like being around it. And so making a movie where people are doing all these crazy romps is kind of my favorite place to live, because it's not actually happening, but you get to like experience it and recreate it.
Now, because I'm curious, is there any kind of like crazy event type thing left on your bucket list, whether it's something that you want to throw yourself or something that already exists out there that you want to go to?
Yes, I want to do a hot air balloon sunrise rave, and I would also like to do it in or near Morocco. Like a group of hot air balloons raving in the sky.
Can I join?
Yes. Can we ask Diplo
I'll be
to
there.
DJ? Okay.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
I have so many questions. I'm scared, but I also want to go. So I'm not really sure how to navigate this. I kind of like, can I have a blimp with a couple of friends so I can feel like secure?
Vanessa, I feel like maybe you can hold down the fort on landside. Maybe
I'll do that. I'll take photos and just really good photos from down here.
Yeah. You can DJ the landside.
Fuller experience to have both levels covered. Vanessa, for you, I wanted to follow up on something that you brought up during our last chat. And JJ and Britt, you can feel free to add to this as well if you want. But you had said that Kestrin's mind works, and Kestrin's mind works in like a really unique way, and how she executes what her mind sees in a really unique way. And I was hoping you could kind of like elaborate on that a little bit. What makes her eye different than other directors you've worked with, and what makes her approach to executing that vision different as well?
Okay, first of all, I'm so impressed by myself for saying that in the past. Wow. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. I think the thing that thank you for reminding me of me appreciating Kestrin's genius, because it's something that I've noticed I've been doing a lot of lately. Just in general, I'm a huge cheerleader and fan of all my friends. Like I don't even try on purpose, but somehow I look around and I'm surrounded by some of the most talented and grounded and incredible people that I've ever met. And that's in different spectrums. They all have something super special about them. And the thing that kills me about Kestrin, and in the best way that keeps me alive, it kills me and keeps me alive, is that the way that your mind takes in information and then processes it into a creative perspective to show us the way that you acclimate any of the creativity or inspiration that you got. It just blows my mind, and it's so unique to you. And I feel like I've worked with a lot of incredible directors at different stages of my career and their own career. And the one thing that I've always loved, and one thing that you do that reminds me of someone that Perry's a fan of, Mr. Steven Spielberg, is he's got a very specific vision. And I feel like that's what I see. Anytime I hear a text or phone notification from Kestrin, I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to be let into an incredible vision, and maybe she wants me to be a part of it. And the thing that's so wonderful is you can tell how much she understands the story she's trying to tell, because once everyone on set gives what she needs and we all are so prepared, she's like, got it, move on. And you don't get that a lot. You don't get someone who has a vision, sees it, acknowledges it, and more importantly, just also praises us for helping her do her job. So there's a lot of aspects to the diamond that is Kestrin that I enjoy being a part of.
You just follow me around.
Book me for your next movie, no big deal. She's like, I'm campaigning for the next role. How did I do?
Sold.
Yeah, but it's really been awesome. I've been doing a lot of projects where there's been more of a female presence on set, and there's something that is so different and comforting. And especially with this movie, I was just like, holy shit, like director, producer, writer, the majority of the cast, like A cam, B cam, D. Yeah, like I just was like, this is powerful and I love being here. I don't even feel like I'm doing work.
I love it all. JJ, Britt, do either of you want to add something before I move on to my next burning question?
Yeah. I think one of the things that Kestrin brings to the table that's pretty prolific are her editing skills. She is an incredible editor, not just like an editor, like an amazing editor. And so the way she can multitask when she's directing, she can be so clear about, no, I won't need that, or yes, I will need that. That will cut together. And then she also has B cam running around getting like B-roll footage that she knows she's going to need to fill in other moments. And her ability to be efficient with time without sacrificing any of the vision is really incredible. And I do think, they say you're not really a multitasker in the world. They're like, your brain can't really multitask. But I just think that's bullshit, because I watched it happen right in front of my eyes. It was like spinning plates, but there was never an energy of pressure. And we stayed on schedule. I was actually talking about this with someone last night. We had 2 days that we went over by like 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. That was it. We were completely on schedule. We got everything we needed. We even got a reshoot in there because she built in 2 days for reshoots. Because once we were out of this property, that's it. There was no going back. There was no like building the set in a studio. It was done so effortlessly. It seemed effortless. I mean, there were of course moments of panic and high stakes, but it felt like there was such a presence to be able to move through and multitask that we had everything we needed. I was so comfortable with her in a position of leadership because I think she has such a wide range of skills.
Yeah. And just from a performer's standpoint, the trust that she has in her actors is it's great, because she would give us permission to like, we would have to get like, take we'd have to get a take first, like to the scripts, and then she would just let us kind of have fun, riff. So as soon as we got it, we would just start riffing, which was like really fun, and it just implies a lot of trust with the performers, and I love doing that.
I want to follow up on what you just said, Britt. So you go through the whole shoot, you're totally on schedule, movie making miracle right there. What is an
huge
example of one of those days where, things weren't going to plan, and I don't know, maybe you found a creative solution to pivot?
Yeah, well, the campfire scene was, already a challenge. If you're outside, there's smoke blowing in our faces. We had just sat down and rewritten a bunch of things. We'd rewritten that scene several times. JJ and I had cracked at it. Michael and I had cracked at it. Then all of us sat down at the table and were working on it. It still wasn't working just the way that we wanted it to. And so we were riffing, we were trying. Kestrin was asking things, and it's nighttime. It was a night shoot. So we were about to run out of time because we promised our crew that we would not screw them over on time. It was a promise that we made. Everyone came on this property. We were all indie filmmaking, like sacrifices were made. And the one thing we were not going to do was push them into overtime. And there was a lot of integrity around that. And it was like, we just needed me walking up the hill. We had to get me walking up the hill, because if I didn't walk away, we didn't have the scene. And Kestrin was just like, it's Allie's call. And Allie just like, she asked only one of her people to stay with her, and we got it in about 2 minutes. And it was just that quick shot walking up, but it was so respectful and there was no pressure. Allie could have said no and we would have found another way, but we didn't have to, because there was so much respect throughout that it was in one of those moments that everyone wanted to say yes and do what we needed to do to get it done. And I think that's, that builds up over time, that kind of relationship.
I love that so much. I feel like, building on our last conversation, like your on-set environment is exactly what every single set out there should try to emulate, because things like that don't happen very often, and that is unfortunate.
I was going to say, to build onto your point, and then Perry, you also said it, I feel like we've all had the pleasure of being on different sets, whether or not it built us up or broke us down. And something that was so special about this set was just a bunch of really grounded, incredibly compassionate human beings that were like, hey, we're all just like having fun together in an adult way, but we can also be respectful. And I feel like I was only there for a couple of days, and there was just so much mutual respect. Every single person was there to support each other. And I feel like that's a testament to why this film is so awesome, is because everyone was there to support each other. There was no hierarchy. There was no inability to, speak up if you felt uncomfortable. And I feel like as a performer, you have to feel grounded and safe in a space to do that. And it starts with the director, and it was just a massive trickle down effect, and you could feel it with every single person.
Yeah.
It radiates off
Is the
screen.
Virgo crying? Is the Virgo tearing up?
I've been crying like this whole time. It's
I
really
I kept thinking,
like,
wait. Too.
No,
Okay.
I'm like messing up my eyeliner.
We love
So in
you.
summary, we can't stand you, Kestrin. We cannot stand you.
JJ, burning questions for you. I don't know how much you actually thought about this with your character, but I started to think about it. Have you ever considered if not money and if not having all the things that she needed, what could have made Kat happy in life?
No, oh no, I don't think that there. I don't think that. I mean, okay, let me like seriously consider, because my initial response is like nothing, obviously. But maybe what could have made Kat happy? Well, I mean, if she had dug a little deeper, I think earlier on in life, not necessarily early on, but if she ever gave herself a shot at giving herself the freedom to like just like, because she put all of her happiness in her husband and his success, so she never really got a chance to know herself. So I think there's something very, very, there's like, that could maybe be the beginning of starting to fill that deep morbidly bored dark hole in her heart. But yeah, I think it would be a soul searching I guess, which is maybe the same for anyone. But
no,
yeah,
but I love that, JJ, because you came to the table, and I remember you asking at one point, you're like, I'm trying to figure out when did Kat meet Matt? It was meant to be funny and the name's rhyme. But like, when did Kat meet Matt? And what was she doing before then? Like, what did she go to school for? What did she love? What would she have done if she didn't decide to say yes to this? And I thought that was, I mean, we didn't get your answer because I think it was very internal, but I love that you were asking those questions because it was important to what you brought. The texture of the character was there. Like, I didn't know what it was that she missed, but she missed something. She took a right when she could have taken a left. And I think that's a really interesting question.
Yeah. I don't know if I should share the backstory, but yeah, no, I think that she had something going on for herself and she let it go. Mm-hmm. She let go of the things that drove her, or like, you know, and that's why she's always on this like constant, like this endless cyclical search for something to bring her some joy. But she puts all of her stock in other people making it happen. So like she invests in new companies and stuff because I think there was something earlier on before she let go of it.
So there was that part of her that I was thinking
maybe
about.
Another dog.
Maybe. I feel like puppies and kittens make everything better. So
right. You're obviously a cat person.
I'm a dog person first, then I became a cat person, and now I'm a both person. I was thinking about you, Kestrin, last night because I was doing a Q&A with an acting coach, and she had mentioned one of her techniques that has come in handy is, you know, having an actor play with an animal, with a pet on set. And I was remembering you had your cat on this set, but it really does make a difference, I think.
Yeah, it's like a very anchoring experience. It brings out the best in people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. To wind down here, this is like a very dangerous thing for me to do virtually, but because you brought up the horror spin on the movie and the thriller spin earlier, I kind of want to play a game with you all. So this is a game that I go to frequently because I love horror and I love slasher movies in particular. So we are going to turn the set of Pretty Problems into a slasher movie. And the only way I can do this is I'm going to give you a superlative and you need to tell me which real person on set best suits this description. But it's whoever shouts out an answer first is going to be the right answer to this. So good luck to whoever has the slowest internet connection.
I'm sorry.
First one is, who is the most likely to not realize that there's a slasher on set and go and investigate a strange noise and be the first one to get killed off?
JJ?
I'm the first.
I didn't know what the end was going to be, but I was like, JJ's going to be like, I hear a sound, and you're going to just start moving already.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I would argue that Kestrin is going to be the first one to investigate a noise. But I don't think that she would die.
I feel like Kestrin would investigate the noise from like where we all are and just be like, it's over there. But
Kestrin would be like,
you're the curious one. You're going to go look.
Yeah, did anybody hear that? No, it's not interrupting our shoot. Okay, fuck it, let's go. That would be Kestrin.
Unless they could get someone else to go do it. I would.
Yeah,
I would
maybe on set, but like in life, Kestrin's going to be the first one to actually go figure out what the noise is. She's going to follow.
Oh, it's Katya.
Oh yeah, it's Katya.
Katya's going to die.
Katya would go. We actually did.
It was.
We actually did. We did have a hummingbird get stuck in the house, like inside, like this glass, like solar entryway. And she was the one who was like, I think something's wrong. And she went and found the bird. And then Graham and Alex went and like got on a ladder and saved it in their little hands. So I'm sorry, in your horror movie, everyone would die.
I know, but also it's Victor. Victor.
All right, here's my next one for you. Let's go with, who is the most likely to trip and fall while running from the killer?
Charlotte.
Vanessa, I know you want to say me.
I think Charlotte always had on the craziest shoes.
First person to answer. I was like, I'll just look away. I kind of clumsy. It could be me.
Did you say
me? You were barefoot. You were barefoot. I think Charlotte was in those crazy heels all the time.
No. It's definitely Charlotte. I just think it's funny how much we want it to be JJ, but it's Charlotte.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be me. It could be a tie. Yeah.
All right, Carrie. Let's keep killing people. Let's go.
This is one of my favorite ones of the bunch. Who's the most likely to basically just give up right from the start, to say like, fuck this, it's too scary, I'm leaving, and just walk off and then get killed by the slasher?
Oh. I think Graham Outerbridge.
Graham, yeah. Yeah.
Graham's like, I'm going to law school. I have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably Graham.
I'll give you two more here. Who is the most likely to be the last one standing?
I was going to say me because I'm just lucky. Like, I just tend to be lucky, but I don't know if that really has anything to do with this situation. I do watch a lot of true crime, so maybe I'll make it.
I think you could make it.
I think Alex Klein would have like gone to another room to read a comic book or something and like missed the whole thing, and he would obliviously survive because he had no idea people were dying.
Yeah, he'd be taking a nap in the safest room that nobody knew.
Yeah. And then he'd wake up and be like, what happened?
Where did everybody go?
That's amazing.
Slept through the murders.
That's like a good new description that I should throw into this list. I have a feeling he'll be the answer to this last question then. Who is the most likely to be the one that you think is dead but is actually alive and comes back at the last possible second to save the day?
Save the day.
JJ, she went to go check the sound. We thought she died, but then she came back to save us.
Oh, there you go.
That's like my best friend would
do. Yeah, sure. JJ went to go check the sound.
And then she didn't die, and I was crying. And then you came back.
JJ went to go do something else.
I think that works. I believe it all. I also have to say, it's a special occasion right now because this is officially Malcolm's first full interview. He's popped in to like one or two. He has not sat in a single interview yet from top to bottom until this one. And I'm pretty sure it's because he senses the good vibes, but also, Vanessa, because you are here and he is named after your dad.
I love that. We're family.
Chilling back
Seriously.
there.
All right. I am going to let everybody out there know that Pretty Problems premieres in theaters and on demand on October 7th. So it will be available when you're watching this interview. Congratulations to all four of you. Now go back to the house, make another movie, and I promise to show up with wine and cats.
Yes, please.
Amazing.
Yeah. And Vanessa, you need to seriously figure out whether you want to die or be the hero.